speak to what is near and dear to my heart, chocolate. And the fact is, chocolate is really only second to the most important thing, which is integrating the arts into the classroom setting. Last week I gave a speech, and the event organizer said to me, you know, your speech was original and good, except for the original part wasn't good and the good part wasn't original. So I'm only as good as my last meal, so thank the chef tonight. I hope it's good. I'm really happy to be here this evening because my family is from Hot Springs, Arkansas. My mom and dad met here, but my mother was born and raised here. She graduated from Hot Springs High School in 1939, and my dad was stationed here during World War II, at the Army-Navy Hospital. They met there because my mother was a dancer. She was dancing for the USO, for the soldiers, and my dad met her because he was stationed to become a medic, to be sent overseas to the European theater. But they met right here, down the street. They lived on Oak Street. My grandparents lived on Oak Street. I know all about the racetrack. I came here every summer. It's such a pleasure. And today I got a nice tour of the area and brought back tears to my eyes because it really was my youth. So being here really is special to me. Let me tell you just batteries are falling out everywhere. And they're not mine. I want to tell you a little bit about me. I grew up in a house of arts and music. My dad was a musician, my mother was a dancer. And I am a visual and auditory learner. That's who I am. I was not much of a passive learner. I wasn't that child who you say, here's a book, go learn it, take the test. Now, my husband, he's the one who can read, and he's the one who he reads directions, I don't. I am much more of an interactive learner. I'm a person who likes to observe and experience my lessons. And that was really important to me as a child, because that's really how I grasp things. And it really embedded it into long-term memory for me. I'm an advocate for the arts, and I have been for decades now. And I'm really an advocate for getting teaching artists into the classroom, because I really believe that is where it's at. The arts, as we all know, touch, teach, and transform. I think we all can agree with that. Arts are the reason I'm here, because arts impact people. One of my goals has always been to make the arts affordable and accessible to all people, no matter what their background is, and no matter what their perceived status is in this world. The arts build community and bring people together. It's the great equalizer. It's the one thing that brings us together and builds that community. It builds good mental health for those children. And when they have good mental health, guess what? They show up. And when they show up, they learn. Yeah. The arts are really the bridge that bridge the learning gap and create creative thinkers and critical thinkers. I rarely talk about this, and we don't discuss this a lot, but it's about human connection and the arts, that relationship. And we don't discuss about that too much, but it's the truth. I don't believe you can have learning without that relationship between humans and the arts. You know, I heard a teacher once say to me, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach the kids, and the kids learn. End of story. And I said to her, happened to be a her, I said, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. Yeah. So, we are here tonight because we, all of us, want to be part of the solution and not the problem. And we want to give a can-do attitude to those kids. because we want to encourage them. You know, the arts remove all the limitations and create exploration, imagination, expression, which leads to innovation and problem solving. We no longer can just teach passively by giving out a worksheet. You know, how many of us went to school and they gave us a list of words? Go home, learn to spell those words. Tomorrow we're having a spelling test. Things have changed. You know, now we teach interactively. And I think students will grow much quicker than my waistline. Seriously. Now, people think that literacy is about reading and writing. But I'm here to tell you that the arts are literacy's cooler cousin. Yeah, the arts show up with a drum, jazz hands, and a costume chest full of confidence and imagination. Yeah, I learned that interactive learning was my tool to success. Yeah, an average boy, very average, great imagination. I was very creative, but had little ability to focus. And the arts is what made me focus. I have something to show you. Karen mentioned it. Let's just see what's in this little package here. Oh, it's my buddy. It's a Tony Award. Yeah. 4.2 million people watched my husband and I receive this at Radio City Music Hall. Another 5,000 were in the audience cheering and standing on their feet. That was not my direction when I started off my career as a singer and an actor. It was not my career. But I'm here to tell you, the reason I brought this is not because to brag, because I'll tell you, it was quite an honor. It's the height of all theater to be able to say you got a Tony Award for Best Musical on Broadway. It represents the past. This represents the past. I have to dust it. I may mount it on the front of my car because it goes around. But the fact is, we are the future. Everybody sitting in this room, we are the future. And they depend on us. That is not important. This is important. That is really how I feel about it. You know, if you want a child to like words, I wouldn't start with that worksheet. I would start with a story. I would start with a song, a role, a character, a rhythm, maybe even a dragon in there. Yeah. Creative. And to be honest with you, getting kids to read is like corralling cats to get them out. Yeah, the moment you say, let's act it out, all of a sudden the floor becomes lava. Yeah? And you put a towel on their shoulder, and they're a king with a cape, and all of a sudden they're involved and they're thinking and they're having to create, and they learn the narrative structure, that everything has a beginning and a middle and an end. And that's important because kids don't understand there's a middle and end. They want to start at the end, and they don't understand there's a story that we have to have. That's our life. We have a beginning, middle, and an end. And you know, we build vocabulary through the arts. Think about that. Songs. These kids learn songs. And they have words like magnificent and spectacular and extraordinary and supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And you know that the kids are engaged when they're sitting in your car singing 400 times, let it go, from Frozen. Because those kids are engaged and they are learning those vocabulary words. And then eventually they will learn to spell them, but they understand them then. I feel magnificent. They get that. They get that. But that's what the arts do in the classroom, and it really does embed it into your memory. Think about commercials all the time. They're rhythmic, And you say, plop, plop, fizz, fizz. There you go. It's in your long-term memory, isn't it? It's the arts, it's the rhythm, and that teaches us, yeah. Let me tell you something that I think is important. When children take risks, they are confident. And those who take risks become problem solvers. And those who think creatively become critical thinkers. And when a child performs and paints and sings and dances and draws, they learn. Art programs, listen to this, art programs are literacy programs. Let's be very clear about that. When we fund teaching artists in the classroom, we are funding literacy. We're not trying to make them tuba players, we're not trying to make them violin players, we're not trying to make them visual artists. We're trying to get them to communicate and to become better thinkers. And it really does work. I see it day in and day out. We are funding language development and reading comprehension and listening skills and problem solving and storytelling. The arts support and teach creative and critical thinking. You have to be able to think creatively before you can think critically. The arts are the essential nutrients to learning. And it excites kids and it motivates learning. I wish that getting teaching artists into the classroom was as easy as me getting fat. I'll tell you, one thing was when I was teaching school, I gave a test, and there were 20 questions on this test. And Joey got 2 right, missed 18. And my thought was, do I put a minus 18 at the top of that paper, or do I put a plus 2? Of course, it's an F, of course. But I decided I'm going to put a plus 2 at the top. And I told Johnny, I said, listen, you got 2 right. And tomorrow, we're going to work on the rest. We're going to work on the rest. And guess what? Johnny learned, and he got all 20. Because it's all about confidence and reinforcing the fact that you are good. You can do it. Sometimes they come to school and they're hungry. Sometimes they come to school and they had issues, outside the school. It's my job, and it's our job to help them have confidence, because when you have confidence, you take risks. And when you take risks, you become more problem solve, ability to problem solve, right? My parents had it right. They told me to get out and help others who need you. My dad always said, it's good to be seen, not viewed. Think about it. And he also said, whatever you do, give 100%, except when you're giving blood. So I'd like to leave you with this. This is my philosophy, and it's really very, very simple, and I want to share it with you because I want you to know that the arts changed my life forever. It made a difference in a child that was really directionless. Had a lot of imagination, because I could think up fun stuff, but I needed the arts to really bring me in. My philosophy is this: if you want to touch the past, touch a rock. If you want to touch the present, touch a flower. And if you want to touch the future, touch a life. Thank you very much.